Go ahead.
My memories of that day, April 4th, 1968. I was a 17-year-old senior at Passaic High School in Passaic, New Jersey. Ironically, just a year before, I had told my pastor that I felt that I was called to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. There was something unusual about that day, April the 4th. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I just didn't feel right when I got up that morning and went to school. And sure enough, in my history class, my teacher left the room for a moment and said she'd be right back. And when she came back through the door, she was literally in tears and said to us that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had been shot and killed at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. I can't tell you how I felt that day. Literally, my heart skipped a beat. And I don't think for several minutes after she gave us that announcement, I couldn't speak. I was just motionless. And what he meant to the black community, as far as the black community is concerned, it felt like we had lost our Moses. Dr. King, metaphorically, had taken the black community out of Jim Crow bondage. No longer in the South did we have to sit at the back of the bus. We could now sit in the front. We were now able to sit at the lunch counter and not have to go to the back of the restaurant to get our meals every day. No longer did we have to sit in the balcony of the movie theaters. No longer did we have to drink from the colored water fountain. With his Gandhian tactic of non-violent civil disobedience, he was successful in ending racial segregation and legal discrimination in this country, starting with the Montgomery bus boycott in 1955. And we found that he really changed the trajectory of black social achievement. It was during that time in the early 1950s, statistically, only 13.7% of blacks had a high school diploma, while 36.4% of whites had one. Only 2.2% of blacks, according to census.gov, graduated with a bachelor's degree, while 10.2% of whites had the same privilege. It was during that time that 10.2% of blacks were completely illiterate. By his death in 1969, 139 blacks were in the workforce with a degree of some kind. After King's death, by 1969, the number jumped to 586 blacks with a degree of some kind. 31% of blacks graduated from high school, and only 3.6% were by then illiterate. What King's legacy means to us today. Dr. King brought a voice for those who were voiceless. He showed through his willingness to endure the loneliness of a prison cell the power of what one man determined could do to make a difference in our society. He gave up the comfort of his success by going to Memphis to lend aid to garbage workers who were underpaid and working under serious health conditions, with their exposure to who knows what toxic waste was evident at that time. King was always concerned about the lowest among us. I mean, really, who wakes up in the morning and thinks about garbage workers in Memphis, Tennessee? He was there and valued the lives of those that we consider sometimes to be less important than others. That we are reflecting on the 50th anniversary of his assassination and the remembrances all over the nation is a testament to his enormous contribution in his very brief life. He awakened the consciousness of a nation to the awful, brutal treatment of blacks in America and forced this country to look at itself in the mirror and ask the question, is this how a nation treats those who have contributed so much to America and to what our Constitution guaranteed to every citizen, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? I'm thankful that the majority of America said no. We are better when we are one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. for all.